Rock bottom, you lost everything.
Everything.
What does that feel like?
Horrible. It was embarrassing. We were literally down to our last few dollars. We lost 6 businesses, 6 months, gone. Just like that.
She's an entrepreneur, a voice for women empowerment, family driven, and she's just got an incredible base of values and principles. She's been able to amount to a lot of success in her industry, and she is an expert at helping people cultivate resilience and authenticity.
Insurance chose me. I definitely did not choose insurance. I had never sold anything, not even a brownie, to anybody in my entire life. I believe that honestly it was everybody else. I was not the problem. And at that moment, I realized that I was the problem. When I had that moment of clarity, that was it. I ended up making a 6-figure income, saved my family. I am the second person to ever eclipse $1 billion in sales in my company.
Woo, let's go.
They say change is inevitable, growth is optional. It's not about the money anymore at all. It's about developing other talent. Behind every single failure, there's a success. Just hang in there. And you know, if you take away one lesson, it's a lesson learned, and it's a building block to getting to where you ultimately want to go.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to another episode of Legacy and Billions. Today, I am here with a special guest. She is an entrepreneur, a voice for women empowerment, family-driven woman as well, and she's just got an incredible base of values and principles. She's been able to amount to a lot of success in her industry, and she is an expert at helping people cultivate resilience and authenticity. So I'm excited to dive in. Are you, Mara?
Yeah, super excited to be here.
Let's freaking get it. So without further ado, Mara Dorne, welcome to the show.
Thank you. What an intro.
I'm so excited to have you here. I've heard so many great things about you.
I don't know if they're all true. Don't believe everything you hear.
That's what they say. But from what I've seen, it seems like you have a passion for really empowering people, for building people. Yeah. You've been in the space of leadership and helping people tap into their full potential. And so how did you get started in your entrepreneurship journey?
That's really a great question. So, you know, I always laugh. I say, because I'm in the insurance arena, so I say insurance chose me. I definitely did not choose insurance. So for me, I'm actually from here. Well, I know I can't say I'm from 305. I'm from 954. I'm from Broward County. I was born and raised here in Fort Lauderdale. And the way that I grew up was my life was kind of written for me. I was supposed to go to law school, go into corporate America. That was kind of the dream that was sold to me. And that was what you kind of had to do. I didn't even know that you had an option to go to college. So my trajectory was law school, and I was going to go into corporate law, and it was just going to be great. But unfortunately,
you look like you'd make a good lawyer.
I think I would, yeah, but I wouldn't do corporate law. I'd probably do litigation and
you
just
probably
argue
hold
a
the
lot.
law down in your house.
I doubt, yeah. So they say. My kids actually do. But so I went to college. I went to UCF. I received both a master's degree and undergraduate degree in criminal justice. And unfortunately, in 2008, the economy happened. Mm-hmm. And at that time, I was already newly married. I had my first child. And as we were losing everything, my first husband, we lost absolutely everything. Like, it was in the industry of tourism, and we lost 6 businesses, 6 months, gone, just like that. 25 years old, probably one of the most humbling experiences I'd ever had. And I figured, what am I going to do? I tried to get into my field a little bit. I tried interviewing for jobs, anything at that point. And I realized that I was either overqualified, or they were going to pay $35,000 a year, which wasn't even enough to cover my student loan debt. So
hold up right there.
Yeah.
Rock bottom. Unexpected event hits.
Yep.
You lost everything.
Everything.
What does that feel like?
Horrible. It was embarrassing. We probably had to beg and borrow from everybody that we knew. Wow. So cars were being repossessed right in front of our house. So embarrassing. We were literally down to our last few dollars.
Jesus.
And I had a 9-month-old at home.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah, so everything is going. One of our highest bills at the time were health insurance premiums. So we were trying to lower every single bill that we had, and I went online, looked to do that, and a girl came to my house to try to help lower my health insurance prices. Ended up helping us, and little did I know that this girl would be like my fairy god regional, or whatever, my fairy godmother. That's what happened. And she gave my name and number to her boss. and they called me into an interview. Like it looked like a multi-level marketing scam is what they called me into. So there I was. They were pitching this stream of sales and insurance, and I knew nothing about it. It just looked very scammy. But to be honest, I had nothing else going on. So reluctantly, I believed what she had to say, and I obtained my 215, which is my health, life, and annuities license, and started in the fields of health insurance. But what I didn't know, number one, I had never sold anything, not even a brownie, to anybody in my entire life. And I didn't know that I was embarking on a journey that involved being in an all-male industry. I had no idea. I knew nothing about insurance. So when I went in, you can imagine I was the youngest and hottest. No, I was the youngest. I was the youngest.
I like that.
I was the youngest agent to start with the company. And, if you know anything about insurance, like traditionally you think of like older white men. That's really who dominated the field. So here I was in this field, young 25-year-old, thought that I had the world at my fingertips, and I was completely deflated because I was horrible at sales, awful. I probably failed a million times, and I had this moment of like, I think every salesperson does, of like, aha, this clarity moment. And at that time, I thought I was at rock bottom with losing everything, but this was really rock bottom because there was $0 left. And I had to make a decision. Either I was going to go forward and go big, or I was going to go home. So I made a vow to myself. I was going to go to one more appointment. And at that point, I was going door to door selling health insurance. And I did one appointment. I went to the door of this person, and our company doesn't sell to uninsurable people. So this guy opens the door, and he's pretty big, completely uninsurable. I'm thinking, okay, maybe the wife comes over, she's even worse. And I didn't sell them anything. So I walked away completely defeated, done. I was over it. I'm like, I'm throwing in the towel. This is it. I don't care. I'll do anything. I'll get a 9-to-5 job, anything you can possibly imagine. And I called my mentor at the time, or my boss, and told her what happened. And we went over the sale. We started talking about it. And because, I believe that honestly, it was everybody else. I was not the problem. It was really the leads that sucked, and everything else sucked. It wasn't me. So we go over the sale like little by little, and at that moment, I realized that I was the problem. I wasn't fully bought in. I was not doing everything that I was supposed to be doing, and I really just didn't. The truth was, I didn't buy into myself. That was the truth. I wasn't betting on myself. And that moment, when I had that moment of clarity, that was it. That was it for me. That year, I ended up making a 6-figure income, saved my family, and here I am 15 years later. I don't sell anymore, but I am the senior regional sales leader of an insurance company. I oversee almost 500 agents. I am in different states, so I travel every 8 to 10 days. I am the second person to ever eclipse $1 billion in sales in my company.
Woo, yeah, let's go, cool. Girl.
Super. It's not that I think at first it was cool. Now it's just like, okay, what's the next thing? And the first one was female, which was even funnier. She happens to be my mentor. So just to see the journey and the evolution of the company go from a predominantly white male industry to an industry that's completely eclectic now. You see all different races, religions, creeds, genders. I mean, it's great, and I like to think that I had a huge part in that, in changing the trajectory of what the health insurance arena looks like today. So
Mara, for that person that right now is on the verge of giving up and they're quitting, they went through a tough time, what advice would you give them?
You know what? Behind every single failure, there's a success. Just hang in there. It always seems like the world is falling and the sky is falling. It's not like that ever. And if you take away one lesson, it's a lesson learned, and it's a building block to getting to where you ultimately want to go. Yeah. Don't give up.
100%. Failure is necessary for success, because if you avoid failure, then you're also delaying your success. Nobody just landed at the top.
No.
They had to climb consistently.
Absolutely.
Persist.
Yep.
Never give up, because the only way you lose is if you give up. But if you keep going, eventually you figure things out, and you have a massive testimony and success story. So thank you for sharing that. Yeah. Congratulations to you.
Thank you.
I'm actually very excited to know, what is an attribute that you found that made you very successful in influencing, communicating, and selling when you were out in the field?
So people like me. I have no idea what. No, I'm relatable. I feel like I'm pretty relatable when it comes to a lot of things. I wasn't born into a ton of money. I come from, a single family home. I was raised by my mom. So for that, off the bat, I am relatable to a lot of people, and I like people. Like, I genuinely care, and I like to know about everybody. That's what do they say? God gave you 2 ears and 1 mouth for a reason. So I'm intrigued by people, which in turn, I think people feel the authenticity that I'm fully bought into them, and then they are bought into me, and it just works.
That's very, very well said. And I can see you have that aura, you have that charisma, you have that gift of connecting and being relatable with others, which is truly the hard part for a lot of people, of being vulnerable and owning their past, owning where they come from. How did you just own those losses and that embarrassment that you felt with and that shame at one point to then, putting that behind you and saying, I'm going to create a new future for myself?
I think people need to hear that. So many times we sit in silence, or we're ashamed of different things, like anxiety, for instance, or the insecurity. I mean, I suffer from all of it. There's nothing different about me. And I think when I was forthcoming about it and very honest and raw and vulnerable, once I was with myself, I could relay the message to other people. And in turn, it allowed me to propel myself to excel and know that all of those things are not downfalls. It's just a part of my story. It encompasses everything of who I am. And when people see that, they're like, oh my God, she is ordinary. There's nothing extraordinary about me. Nothing. I'm just like everybody else.
I love that.
Yeah.
And so no testimony without a test, no message without a mess, right?
It's so true.
And so to make your first 6 figures income in sales, in the service-based business, what would you advise?
You got to work. You have to embrace that word sacrifice. You have to. I know it sounds horrible. People, you might not like what I'm about to say. It might be offensive to some people, but I have 3 kids. I have a 16-year-old daughter, I have a 13-year-old son, and a 6-year-old little boy. And I was ridden with guilt for a long time that my kids would be in daycare. I mean, currently I'm on a plane every 8 to 10 days. So you can imagine, I see my kids maybe 2 full weeks out of the month. And it used to really upset me, and a lot of people criticize me. I remember family members saying things to me. Friends would say things like, what about your kids? And my answer to that is, you know what? They get to watch their mom be a badass. I don't know if I could say that, but they get to watch that. They know, they definitely know, because the time that I'm home with them, it's very present, it's intentional. So I would say to anybody that's guilt-ridden, or, that they're afraid, you got to sacrifice. You have to, because anything in life worth having, you have to put in hard work in order to attain what you're looking for.
100%. And what were some of those things that you had to sacrifice?
Time with my children, that was one thing. Time, the hangout time, I didn't get to do that. The working the late hours, sacrifice time with my husband. There was a lot of things that were put on the back burner. Even like time at family dinners with my entire family. There was times that I'd have to be like, I'm sorry, I can't. I have to work late. And you know what, in the end, yeah, of course it's sad. I definitely think family first. But when you're trying to build your empire, I think it's excusable, because in order to do that, you have to sacrifice what's on the front end in order to attain what you're looking for on the back end.
I totally agree with you. And I read something from, what's this guy's name? Albert Preciado. And he was saying that most men are saying, hey, no, I can't work extra. I can't grow my business. I can't make more money because, I have to go spend time with the family.
Yeah.
And he said that a real, true father is saying, I got to work 10 times harder on my business so I can give these time and these moments and the schooling, the education that my family deserves. 100%. And so when I heard that, I was like, okay, now people are starting to speak up about this, because how many times have you heard somebody give that excuse? Like, oh, no, I can't.
That's what it is.
Because I need to spend more time with my family. I need to do these things. But success requires sacrifice. And you couldn't have said that better.
I mean, let's really be honest. I don't know if you have children, but
I don't.
So I have children, and I can tell you from an honest perspective, because I don't know anything else about, just whatever comes in my head comes flowing out of my mouth. But, when I didn't work like this, I would be home with my kids for sure. But was it intentional time? Absolutely not. No mom is there 24/7 present. But I know that the time that I am there, it's very present and it's very intentional. So yes, I have no qualms about saying mom has to go to work, because they know that when mom comes back, mom is 100% bought into them.
I love that. That's beautiful. And so 0 to 6 figures income is just sacrifice, hard work, and Anything else that
You
you
can go
want
to
to add?
7 figures. I started at 6, went to 7. And look, if you're looking at me thinking if this chick can do it, and it's so true, there's really nothing special. You just have to keep persisting. You're going to get knocked down. There's going to be the naysayers out there. There's going to be a lot of times where you have self-doubt. Stop listening to the noise over here and focus on the goal in front of you. And you'll be able to get there 100%. It doesn't take a rocket scientist to get in there and make the type of money you want. You just have to go and do it. No excuses.
I love that. And from the 2,000 and something leader salespeople you oversee now, what are some common traits or characteristics you see in top performers?
Top performers are competitive. They are definitely, I would say some are introspective. I think when you're introspective, that means you're willing to learn and grow. One of my top people, they do a lot of self-reflecting and also doing things outside of the business, like attending conferences, trying to get better. So people that want to evolve and they're willing to leave their egos at the door, those are top performers. People that are persistent, people that are okay with being knocked down, people that understand failure is part of the business, people that don't dwell on the negative but find the positive, and people that can decompartmentalize. If you can do that, you'll definitely be a top earner.
That is very well said. And can you go a little bit deeper on
Sure.
decompartmentalizing? How do you do that effectively?
That's hard. I mean, that's really hard. So the advice that I give my agents or leaders when they come in is that their office is their safe zone. Like, that's their space. So all the minutia and all the nonsense and all the noise that's going on, you have to leave it at the door, because if you bring it in with you, it distracts you from what you're trying to accomplish. So I know it's hard because everybody has things going on. Everybody, I don't care who you are. There's always, some are worse than others, but when you're at work, you have to be intentional and purposeful. And if you're focused on what's going on out here and things that you can't control, then you're not effective in your business. And if you come with an intentional plan, like with real intent, not just be there, but be present in your business and leave all the other nonsense out, then you'll have a successful business.
100%. Very, very well said.
Thank you.
And so after seeing these 2,000 something agents, now you're in a leadership position. What is your formula for building more leaders? Because to have 2,000 people under you, you have to be giving them the right guidance, the right insights, the right strategies, coaching, support, tools. What is your formula for building leaders?
I would say being personal with them. I think that's something that's so overlooked is, it's one thing to develop a relationship, but to have a personal relationship and giving the attitude of servitude, that's ingratitude. And I think any of my leaders would attest that. They know that my heart and soul is fully bought into them. It's not just, bringing them into leadership like, here you go, you're a leader. It's bringing them into my home, interacting with them outside of the business and really showing them, rolling up my sleeves and showing them what it takes to be a good leader. So inspecting what I expect. And they see that. It's hard to create a good leader. I don't have a lot of them. My leadership team obviously is smaller than my agent base, and there's a reason for that. Not everybody can be a leader. And the biggest thing is I want to teach them how to lead, because if you're not leading, what are you doing? You're just taking a walk.
100%.
Yeah.
And how do you recruit top talent to come in?
You never know. I mean, I wish I could tell you there's a secret formula, and sometimes I think I can read the room and I would know somebody but you honestly have no idea what's in their heart. Somebody can look great on the outside, but what's on the inside is not what you want. So I would say that, somebody specifically that I'm looking for is somebody that emulates good ethics, somebody that is moral, somebody that is 100% going to put the we before the me, somebody that is bought into their people and not just with money, but with time, with doing acts of kindness, understanding your agents or your people's love language. That's so important. Being socially aware, and those are all good. That's what I would look for. It's hard to see that in a room full of people sometimes, but when I'm trying to pick a leader or trying to promote a leader, those are the attributes that I'm looking for.
Got you. And what would you say is your superpower?
My superpower is I listen to what people say. I am people oriented. That's my biggest thing is, again, relatability and authenticity. And I think people feel it. They know that they can come to me with literally anything at any time of the day. They know I'm up at 5 a.m. They know that I'll listen to them. They know that I'll be there. And I think that's a huge thing. So it's made me relatable and likable and want people to run through walls for me.
I love it. And why keep going? Why get to the next level? Why not say, hey, you've got a good residual, you've got a good team.
Yeah.
You don't need to be on stages speaking. Like, why keep going?
Why not? I mean, you're only as good as your last sale. You know, if you're not, what do they say? They say change is inevitable, growth is optional. That's what it is for me. It's not about the money anymore at all. It's about developing other talent. It's developing people. You know, like I said, I was the youngest person to come into this industry. So to be able to bestow that onto other young women especially, it's a big deal. I want to evolve the future. I want people to know that, you know, you can be a mom, you can be a dad. That's not, you know, but you can also be an entrepreneur. You can also be a mom that goes to a gym. You can also be the dad that goes to the gym and run your business. So it's a big thing that people understand that voice, that you're not just defined by one gender role or one specific title in your life. You can literally be anything you want to be.
100%. I couldn't agree with that more. You just bring this infectious energy out here, guys. I know you're feeling what Mara's saying right now. Some people right now are on fire, they're taking notes. And so for that person that hasn't made their first $1 million, what would you advise them to do right now?
I would say first figure out your why. Like what's your why? What are you trying to do? Define your business plan. Have a clear objective. I wouldn't necessarily say have a defined roadmap, because for me, I would say I'm not the most organized. I just know what the end goal looks like. I know I'm going to get there. I think if you have a lot of self-belief in yourself, you just need to execute it and find something that makes sense, but also understand that, you know, you don't just make $1 million. It doesn't fall from the sky. That's not what happens. There's a lot of hard work that's put into it, tons of sacrifice. There's going to be tears, there's going to be blood, there's going to be sweat, and just know that, you know, with the bad also comes the good. And when the going gets tough, you don't get to get going. You got to stick it out. The hard times are what makes you stronger, what makes your business stronger, what makes the people around you stronger. And then I would say find a good core group of people that are going to work with you, not necessarily for you, because nobody works for you. They work with you. So you want people that are, you know, that they're your cheerleaders, a good group of people that are influential, not the naysayers. Those are the people you don't want in your life. Get rid of the toxic energy, because toxicity, all it does is breed contempt, and it breeds more toxicity. That's all it does. So, you know, try to keep a positive mind frame and keep developing and keep executing and just keep going till you attain the goal that you're looking for.
100%. And so what are some of the rituals and practices that you have in place to prime your brain, to be in state, to lead, to show up, be a mom, to empower and operate at your peak?
Well, the gym, I would say that's such a good question. That's funny that you even asked me that. So a few months ago, I was talking to one of my sales leaders, and they were like, I just don't understand why my agents aren't making money. So I really thought about it, like really thought about what that meant. And we tell our agents, you know, show up, make X amount of dials, and you're going to make money. But that's not really true, right? There's a lot more that goes into it. It's being intentional, right? And working with purpose. So for me, when I think about it, I don't just show up. That's not what happens. I have to prime myself, like you said. So it's getting up in the morning with a positive attitude, and not every day is easy, right? Even morning affirmations. Sometimes I need to look in the mirror and be like, you've got this, girl. But I start with the gym. I start my day off with the gym. Some people like a cup of coffee. I need that gym. I need the time. I need that hour and a half, 2 hours just to myself, to just be me and alone with my thoughts. That kind of just gets everything going for me. It sets the tone. You know, your serotonin levels are going. Everything is going. I'm probably the most functional between 5 a.m. to 9 a.m. And that's where I'm really getting ready for my day. I'm writing down my notes, the things that I need to do. I'm writing down different things that, you know, just different things that are popping in my mind. And those 2 hours are essential for me to be functional. And anyone that knows me knows that I have to go to the gym. Otherwise, it's a tragedy for everybody. So that's one of the biggest things that I do. The other thing I would say is this is going to sound terrible, vanity, but it's true, is when you look good, you feel good. And when you feel good, you do good. And I find like when I can put my face on and put on nice clothes and look good, you feel like that. All of a sudden, you know, your demeanor is different. You're standing up tall. You're speaking with confidence. So, you know, it's putting my makeup on, looking nice. That's very important. I know it sounds crazy, but it's a part of it. And then, you know, then it's making sure, of course, my kids are well taken care of. So if I'm leaving out of town, I make sure that they have all their food lined up. So I meal prep for them at the beginning of the week, making sure that they eat healthy food. And then also what I eat is important, because if you're eating carbs in the morning, what's happening by noon? You're exhausted, right? So I try to have something balanced all the time, keep my meals balanced. And then my mind frame balanced. I don't like to watch anything that can cause me, even though I've been watching the news a little too much. I never watched the news. For 7 years, I refused. But it's trying to keep my mind positive. So I like to listen to something motivational, whether it's like a quick motivational video or, you know, something from a good podcast or whatever it is, just to keep my mind fresh and going, and then have very intentional and positive conversations. I don't do well with negativity at all. So I try to keep the negative nonsense out. It doesn't always happen. So those are part of the things that I do.
I feel like you just whooped the sage around here and just said, it took out all the negative energy.
No bad energy.
That was so good. I live by the same principles. And did you know that around 1970s, Time Magazine actually was doing the news, and they noticed that when they went from having positive media to a negative headline, the click-through rate was up by 64%.
Wow,
and when they noticed that more clicks equal more checks, that's when the news made that shift into negativity. And that's what you see everything in the world, because the media controls the paradigm and the mind of society as a collective. And so when you're constantly being fed negative news, it's lowering the collective vibrational frequency. It's filling people with worry, with doubt, anxiety, stress, depression, suicide, suffering.
So true.
And then that's just being passed on to the next side. And so cutting the media is 100% a really effective way to get into a positive mindset. And, you know, working in the gym, having the right habits, having the right people around you, and constantly being positive. Because when you're positive, you're attracting positivity and positive people around you. And you need to dictate the energy in your space, because that dictates your performance.
So true.
And so you do such a good job of doing that. And as a mom, juggling many different, work, business, husband, house, cleaning, all that stuff. Women, I believe, are truly powerful beings.
I like to think so.
And so I'm curious, with a high performing, competitive, attractive woman like yourself with a incredible personality, how do you balance your relationship with a husband, you know, when you're a type A personality, alpha, have another alpha? How does that work?
Well, luckily my husband is in the same business. So I have a very understanding husband, and I will say my husband is alpha, but he's a different type of alpha. He likes to make sure that I'm the one that looks good and everything is, you know, good on the outside, but he's really the brains behind the operation. And it's not easy. Like, I don't have a secret formula. I wish I could say it's all, you know, rainbows and unicorns. It's not. I think we're realizing that it's not easy. This is all we know, though. We've met in the business. This is our entire life. So that part is a lot easier for him to understand. The traveling, the people, like, that is the easy part. I think the hard part is trying to find that time where we shut everybody else out and it's just our time. So I would be a liar to tell you that I have that formula nailed down. I do not have that formula nailed down, as I think I've been on 2 dates ever with my husband. But I would say that we have a lot of respect for one another, a lot of respect. We know that each one plays an intricate part in our business, and we're aware of that. We know our weaknesses, we know our strengths, and I think at the end of the day, we both know where we both stand. So we have like a no matter what relationship. It doesn't matter. It really, like, anything, not that anything goes, but no matter what, that we are each other's ride or die. There is no Mara without Seth, and there's no Seth without Mara. So it works.
That's beautiful. That is very well said.
Thank
and
you.
So when you are on this movement and this mission now to empower a lot of females out there, what is your outcome? What is your ultimate goal? What is your message for those women?
It's just letting women know that I said this, like, if I can do this, anybody can do it. And it's giving women back a voice that I think is kind of taken away. I've said this, I've talked about this so many times, that for years we've fought for, gender equality and, not defining ourselves by one specific role. And I think so many women have that self-doubt that goes on, or that voice inside, or that insecurity, like I'm not as good, or I won't be able to perform as well as a man. But I think what women don't realize is, like you said, like, we have a superpower. And the superpower is, number one, men like to talk to women like to talk to women, and we're nurturers by nature. We just have a gift that a lot of women don't hone in on. So I feel like it's my job, having a 16-year-old daughter, to let other women, young females especially, know that, don't ever be afraid to be who you want to be. Nothing is going to hold you back in life. There really is gender equality. There's no such thing as, women can't vote anymore. We can vote. We have mouths. It's okay. We can do those things. And I want to be that voice that literally you can do anything in this life that you want to be. Nothing is limited.
And Mara, did you find this version of you through the hardships? Did you build this version of you and this character that you have? Or were you born this way?
I think that's a really good question. So I lost my dad when I was 6 years old. My father, we were on vacation. And it's funny because it's just something that I recently ever spoke publicly about. And I lost my dad. We were on vacation. It was on Thanksgiving.
It's been really tough holding on to that for many years.
I never really spoke about it. People know me, but it's not something that was like public knowledge. And at that moment, I think being raised by a mom that is basically like, you got to get up, you got to go no matter what. I think it was instilled in me from a really young age that yes, things happen, tragedy will happen. Unfortunately, life goes on. And, you have a choice in life. You can either do the woe is me act, you can, sit in the corner and cry, or you can get up, learn from it, build your character, and keep moving. So I don't know that I was born with it or life happened. And that's what happened. And it's been an evolution over time. I would say confidence is something that's happened over time. But yes, going back, I think experience also has really given me that, that attitude of you can do anything you want. Things happen in life, but no matter what happens, you got to overcome them. They're only obstacles in order to get where you want to go.
I love that. And so what do you do to self-develop yourself when you're at a level that you've had success, you've made money, you're impacting people? What do you do to get better on a daily basis?
So I work with a coach. I work with a performance coach. I work with two types of coaches. I have a sales coach that I work with, and I work with a personal coach. I don't think there's anything wrong. Everybody has a coach, right? Tiger Woods has a swing coach. Basketball players, they have all types of coaches. And if you want to get better, I don't have all the answers. I want to be better. I started attending conferences. I looked to people that were better than me. I'm not the best in the room, because if you're sitting in the room and you're the best, it's time to move somewhere where you're not the best. You're not developing anymore. You're stagnant. So if you're not moving, that's all you're doing. You're stagnant.
And if you're stagnant, that means you're dying.
Yeah,
because if anything. A business is just breaking even, it's actually dying, because inflation, cost of goods, payroll, everything is getting more expensive. And so it's got to be on the trajectory. And it makes sense that you have a performance coach, because you're concentrated, you're focused, you're clear, you're empowering, you're showing up. I can just feel your energy.
It's important. I think everybody needs somebody to hold them a little bit accountable. I'm not organized by any stretch of the imagination. I have a big problem with accountability as far as like holding my leaders accountable. But when I have a coach that's holding me accountable, in turn it pushes me to hold them accountable, right? Inspect what you expect. So it's important. We're not professors in every aspect of our life, and that's okay.
100%. And so how do you want to be remembered when you ascend into the next life? I think that's what I'm doing now. I'm trying to create a legacy for myself and for my children. I think the most important thing for me is not how everybody looks at me. It's what my kids, that's what I'm trying to do. I'm trying to build an empire that my kids are proud of. I want my daughter to look at me and be like, I had one bad mom. Like, she was it. This woman, she might not be perfect in all aspects, but she was damn near close to it. I strive for perfection in every way, mind, body, soul, trying to be the perfect mom.
I know that doesn't exist. So I want my kids to look at me and just be proud of me, be proud of everything that I'm trying to, create.
100%. And so that makes me curious. How do you deal with perfectionism? Because that's something that I deal with a lot, because I can relate to your personality type and your energy. I see myself in you. And so I struggle with the perfectionism, and sometimes it stops me from doing things that I've got a burning desire to do. It's because I'm just like, I just don't feel like I might be ready, or it might be my time. How do you manage the perfection?
The need to be perfect is something that I've learned is never going to happen, because our personalities, we always want more. So I'm learning to be content. I don't want to say content. I'm learning to be okay if not everything is perfect. I'm learning to let go of control, because I know there's only some things that you can control. The burning desire to be perfect, I think it's a double-edged sword. It's that point where it pushes you because you want to be better, but it also holds you back because you're like, I can't mess this up. It has to be perfect. So I think it's just balancing it, knowing that it might not be perfect on the onset. I think, striving for perfection is great because it gives you a goal to strive for, but know that because of our personalities, it's never going to be 100%, and that's okay.
Yeah, and one of the things that I learned as a master of NLP, they say focus on excellence. If you do the best that you can with what you got, then that's all that matters.
That is all you can do.
Because perfect doesn't exist, and will never be perfect. And if we create this false reality around that perfect partner exists, we're going to be disappointed. That perfect opportunity exists, we're going to be also disappointed. We got to create the opportunities and the experiences by doing the best that we can with what we have. And as long as we know we gave it all, we can sleep in peace.
I tell my kids that. I don't know why I can't follow that, but I tell my kids that. I go, just be the best you know how to be. And that's all it needs to, that's it. As long as you're giving it 100% in everything you have in school, then it's all good. I just need to follow my own advice. But you're absolutely right. There is no, I think that you're right. The word perfect is not a real word. It's not a real word. And I think perfect is different for everybody. The way that you define perfect versus the way that I do, I think it's all perception. And you can never put your perception or, your whatever it is on other people, because you'll be sadly disappointed.
100%. And so what's one book that you read that impacted you and opened up your eyes? And
I would say The Energy Bus. I can't think that I wrote it. The Energy Bus it's about people that suck the energy out of you.
Like the energy vampires.
Yeah, those yes. And then also looking at the glass half full versus half empty, because I would tend to do that sometimes, be like, the sky is falling, or, but then when you read this book, you're like, wait a minute, it's not that bad. So I always, like when things are really bad, I always divert back to the book and I'm like, okay, it's not that bad. It's not. It's not life or death. Nobody's dying here. It's okay. So that was pretty impactful.
Amazing. And is there anything else that you'd like to share that maybe I haven't touched base on, but something that you think would be super valuable for the audience?
I would just say, in general, betting on yourself is probably going to be your biggest bet in life. Don't ever self-doubt. There's going to be so many times and we all deal with these anxieties and insecurities, and you're not alone, because I deal with them myself. And I would say, don't ever let that define who you are, ever. Just make it a part of who you are. And I think, when you start betting on yourself and believing that you can do anything, you will be able to do that. And I think a lot of people need to take that mindset off. Stop the excuses, stop the nonsense, and just do it, and just do whatever it is that you want to do and execute it.
100%. Well, that was super valuable. And I think we had such an incredible conversation.
For sure.
I really enjoyed it. And I know a lot of the people watching this, they'd want to get to know more about you. And so where can they find you?
You can find me on Instagram at Mara Dorne. That is probably my best handle out there. Connect with me, DM me. If you have any questions, please feel free to reach out. That's where you'd find me.
Alrighty, guys. Well, thank you so much for watching. We'll see you on the next one. Mara, thanks for being a part of this experience. We're grateful for you, and
thanks.
Excited for what's to come.
Yeah. Exciting. Lots of stuff.